We're going to start today's class laying down, but make sure to bring your blocks with you, like halfway up the mat or so, because we will use them in just a minute. Go ahead and lay down, maybe in Shavasana, laying flat, or bending your knees and standing your feet up near the edges of the mat, allowing your knees to rest together. This can feel extra good if you're feeling any low back stuff right now, which again, I definitely am. So go ahead and close your eyes if that's what you like. Just letting your body acclimate to this position. And I'm starting to pay closer attention to any kind of sense of relief that you feel as you lay down, or perhaps as you begin spending this time that you've dedicated towards caring for your body and mind, mental health. Maybe sighing. As you soften up, we'll see about some deeper breathing, diaphragmatic breath, letting the whole torso be soft. And as you inhale, allow air to fill the lowest parts of your lungs. It can feel like you're breathing into the belly as your belly expands and your rib cage widens. Eventually releasing and just then naturally letting the exhale occur. Continuing to experiment with your breathing pattern for a few more rounds. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your face, shoulders, your arms and hands, your back, or maybe even the sacrum if your knees are bent, supported by the floor. Noticing how supported your legs are here too. No need to hold your legs up in any which way, releasing and softening. From this still place, notice if there's an intention or a dedication that naturally arises for your practice today. Maybe you could see if your body has a message for you. Spending the next couple breaths here considering that. And then we'll take 3 clearing breaths to transition to movement. Let's inhale through the nose, pausing for a second or two, and then exhale with a sigh. 2 more. Starting to wiggle fingers and toes. Let your head rock from one side to the other. Woo. Let's head into a long body stretch, straightening arms and legs and reaching in opposite directions. Maybe wiggling your fingers and toes or circling ankles and wrists some more. Finding some nice feelings. Okay. And then we'll hug the knees into the chest, moving in slow motion here. We're in no hurry. Hugging the knees in. Just go ahead and roll out a little bit here, circling your knees and finding massaging pressure around the low back and the sacrum. Setting the feet back down on the floor. Let's bring the arms out wide for support. We're finding a little bit of a twist here, so scooting pelvis over toward the left edge of your mat, and then allowing your knees to start to twist to the right, grabbing your blocks if you want some support, some extra support there. And you might let your gaze or your head slowly roll over toward the left. Making your way to the other side, eventually coming back up, scooting your pelvis toward the right edge of your mat, and then letting your knees start to lower and twist to the left. And turning your head or your gaze slightly to the right. Just make sure to check back in with your shoulders, softening there. Let's go back to the center. If you have anything like under your head, go ahead and move that to the side for now. Let's press the arms into either side. Knees are bent here. A couple of rounds of breathing bridge pose. When you're ready, with an inhale, pressing down into your feet and arms as you lift the hip points high toward the sky. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale, rising. And exhale, lowering. One more time like that. Inhale, rise up. If you have a block handy, go ahead and slide the block underneath the sacrum, the very lowest part of the spine that connects to the pelvis. And then go ahead and let your sacrum come down onto your block or your blocks. You could make kind of a wider base if you want, using both of them. Oh, that feels nice. And from here, let's slowly hug the knees in toward the chest. Go nice and slow. You might have to adjust your blocks a few times to make this happen. So go ahead, hugging the knees in a little bit here. And then keep hold of your right knee. Let's start to lift and straighten or almost straighten your left leg up high, circling your left ankle a little bit here, wiggling your toes. And then go ahead and start to lower your left leg. You could try to keep it straight as you lower, or you could bring your left foot to the floor and then, slowly start to straighten your leg. We're looking for some stretch and opening through the front side of the left hip joint. When you find a sweet spot here, you could point your toes and then pull your toes back toward you, bending your ankle. Just point and bend a couple of times there, noticing if that has any impact on your hip flexor there on the left side, the hip flexors. And go ahead and rest your left foot on the floor if it's not already. Set your right foot down here. Setting your right foot down on the ground. Start to reach the arms up and overhead and kind of arching the back, kind of pushing up through your navel, getting a nice long body stretch with that extra stretch through the left hip. Then we'll start to switch sides. So bending your left knee, hug your left knee in toward your chest. Let's start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that right leg up, circling your right ankle, wiggling your toes. And then go ahead and start lowering your right leg until you find a good stretch on this side. You might bend your knee a little bit to make that happen. Bending and straightening your right ankle a few times if you'd like. And then setting your left foot down on the ground. Let's take that long body stretch again. This time we're focusing on that extra stretch through the right front side of your hip. We'll see about straightening both legs. You might have to adjust your blocks again. So that you can straighten both legs or almost straighten. I like to interlace my fingers and rest my head in my hands here, but you can do what you want with your arms. And when you're ready, let's plant the feet again. Start to lift up off of the block, slide your blocks to the side and lower on down. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest. This time let's lift the forehead and reach your forehead up toward your knees. Giving yourself a nice squeeze here. Really good for the lymphatic system and circulation. And then release. We're going to come up to a seat next. So if you want to rock and roll a couple of times up and down the spine, you might do that. Otherwise, turn to either side and then press your way up through the fetal position. That's what it's called. When we get to the top here, let's sit up nice and tall. Get a little twist to either direction here, just kind of like a warm-up twist, so you don't really have to like commit to it too much. Just twisting one way then the other. And then come back to center. Let's rub the palms of the hands together. And once you feel that warmth, go ahead and cup your hands over your eyes. Let your eyes close behind your hands, just feeling that energy transfer, that warmth. Keeping your hands in place, go ahead and blink your eyes open behind your palms. Keeping your head still, let's move just the eyeballs here. So we'll look to the left and then look to the right. So just back and forth, look to the left and to the right. Looking left, looking right. Go ahead and do it a couple more times. You can play with the speed, maybe a little faster or a little slower. And then blink your eyes, come back to the neutral in the center. Take your time. Then we'll look up and look down. And look up and look down. You get the idea here. We're looking up and down a couple more times. You can play with the speed. And then blink your eyes, come back to neutral. This time we're going to do diagonal. So we'll look up to the left and down to the right. Up to the left, down to the right. Go ahead and do that diagonal a couple of times. Blinking to come back to center. And we'll do the same thing the other way, looking, let's start down to the left and up to the right. Down to the left, up to the right. Go ahead a few more times. And then blinking your eyes to come back to center. Let your hands come away from your face, tilting your chin down toward your chest. Bring your right ear toward your right shoulder. We can bring the right hand down to the floor here for support. And then swirling your left arm around a little bit here on the left side, like you're in a canoe and you're running your fingers through the water. Noticing if that has any effect on the left side of your neck. Keeping your right ear toward your right shoulder. Let's twist so we're looking up toward the sky, moving the head here, twisting through the neck, and down to the right. Looking up to the left, and down to the right. One more time, looking up, and then come back to neutral. We'll switch sides, so letting your left ear come down towards your left shoulder. Left hand can find the floor if you want for support. And you gotta check the water here now with the right hand. So swirling that right arm around. You can almost hear the loons calling in the distance in our imaginary canoe here. And then finding a little stillness. Let's look down toward the left and up toward the right a couple times. Looking down and then up a couple more. When you feel you've had enough, let's come back up to the center and then come around for come to hands and knees for cat and cow next. With an inhale, let's find cow pose, lowering the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone. Exhale, cat, rounding up through the spine, tucking your chin and tailbone. Go ahead and play with this. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Keep going as long as you'd like, adding on any extra little wiggles or twists or turns. Come back to neutral here. We'll do a little bit of core activation, core strengthening here with our bird dog. So we'll straighten out the left arm, like you're going to shake someone's hand with your left hand, your thumb facing up. Think about straightening out your right leg behind you, maybe lifting your right leg up off of the floor, trying to balance a little bit here. So we're not, wobbling too much, though. A good wobble does help strengthen our core. And actually, let's do that. Let's do that instead of lifting and lowering here. Let's try a little bit of novel movement. Let's try reaching the left hand out a little bit toward the left side and the right leg out toward the right side a little bit, and then back to center. Do that a couple of times here. Left arm out to the side, right leg out to the side, and then back to center. Ooh, that's hard, isn't it? Okay. When you're ready to switch, go ahead and lower on down. Shake it out. And then we'll switch this time. The right hand, right arm reaches out straight and the left leg out behind us. Get your bearings here. And go ahead and experiment with bringing your right arm out toward the right side and your left leg out toward the left side. And back to center. Couple times. And when you've had enough, let's go ahead and come back down and find our way to extended child's pose, bringing the knees out wide and the big toes touching behind you. Maybe lowering down to forearms for a few moments. Maybe walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sinking your head and heart toward the floor. Spending a moment here remembering your intention, if you set one, or any messages your body or mind were bringing up for you today. Let's go ahead and rise up to tabletop. Right away, we're going to find another variation of child's pose. So this time bringing your knees closer together. If you have a pillow or a blanket handy, you could kind of like hug that into your stomach it'll be kind of like between your stomach and your thighs, or like a bolster or a big stuffed animal or something. And then we're gonna come down. You might have to adjust a few times to get the blanket just right. We'll grab a couple props to rest your head on. So I'm gonna stack a couple of blocks here and see about bringing my head down to a comfortable amount. Make sure you're grabbing something soft. The blanket is almost too hard today. Grab my bolster. And we're gonna let the hands wrap around by your ankles and folding forward, kind of wrapping forward around your props. Seeing if we can get a little spaciousness in the low back. We will be here for a little while, as long as it's feeling good. Feel free to stay. You can always adjust, maybe trying to remove your props or add more props. Again, we're trying to feel like an opening sensation through the low back and the mid back. Okay, we're gonna try to keep our prop where it's at. Let's bring the blocks underneath our hands. Curl your toes under, and then go ahead and kind of walk your way back to the back of the mat. We're gonna end up in a forward fold, maybe still hugging your bolster between your knees and your chest. Go ahead and find your ragdoll here. So letting your upper body be loose. You might sway a little bit here. You could bend your knees extra deep and really let your body kind of like rest on a shelf. That's what it feels like right now. You could bend and straighten your knees a little bit. Letting your head be loose, maybe nodding your head yes, and then shaking your head no. All right, let's slowly come up to rise. Eventually, letting your bolster or whatever fall to the wayside. And then we'll get a nice shake, bounce here at the top. So just whatever feels like shaking or dusting off. Go ahead and move your body, maybe a little jump or clap. Doesn't have to be a rhyme or reason or like a grace or coordination to what you're doing. We're just moving. And then let's find a little stillness at the back of the mat once you're ready. Move my blocks up a little bit there for later. So here we are at the back of the mat with an inhale. Let's reach both hands high, upward salute. Exhale, baby back bend. We'll bend the elbows, squeeze the glutes as you puff the chest up. Inhale, reaching high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding your hands up to your thighs. Exhale, bringing your hands down to the floor. Walk your hands out to your high plank. Shoulders more or less over your wrists. Big breath in and out, lowering your knees and then lowering your chest. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet into your mat. Good old baby cobra. Inhale, lifting your head and your heart. This is another core, kind of a core strengthener and a back strengthener here. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, rising up. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, lower down. Let's bring the right arm out toward the right side off of the mat here. We're going to bend just the left knee. So your left foot is hanging out in the air behind you. Press your left hand into the mat as you try to kind of pick up your left leg, turn onto your right side. See about reaching your left toes toward your right hand. Just in that general feeling of that direction. And then coming back to center, we're going to go back and forth from side to side a couple of times. So this time we'll straighten the left arm out toward the left side. Press your right hand into the mat next to your chest. Bend your right knee. Press your way onto your left side as you reach your right toes toward your left hand behind you. We'll play with this a little bit. You're welcome to stay and linger, or maybe go back and forth a couple of times, just going at a mindful pace. Whenever it feels equal on both sides, let's come back to the center. Take your time. Let's plant the hands next to the chest. The sentence press all the way up to tabletop. Grabbing your blocks here. We'll find downward facing dog. So curling your toes under, starting to lift your hips, lift your tailbone high. Make sure your breath is steady here as you begin pedaling out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees a few times. All right. Start to bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, but then exhale as you walk your hands to the back of your mat, forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending your knees a little bit. Inhale, press your feet into the ground as you rise up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center, pressing your palms together, pressing your thumbs into the center of your chest. Maybe closing your eyes for a moment to sense inward. Noticing and releasing any undue stress or tension. Don't hold yourself to any standard of perfection. Letting go of that. Let's take a clearing breath here in through the nose and a sigh through your mouth. Inhale, reaching both hands high. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale, reaching high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your way out to your high plank. We're switching it up a little bit here. Big breath in and out. 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. Last breath in. And then on your exhale, lower just your left knee. And then step your right foot to the right side off of your mat. I like to come up to the highest setting of my blocks here, but you do you as always. We're gonna find a little bit of rocking forward and back here as we stretch out the adductors on the inside of your left thigh. You could keep your right foot planted, but you can kind of let your right foot and your right ankle move along with you. We're exploring sensation through that right leg. Oh, it feels glorious today. Oh. We'll spend the rest of the class right here. All right, let's try a kind of a tricky little transition. We're gonna bring the blocks back down. We're gonna end up in downward facing dog with the right foot lifted. So go ahead and curl your left toes under, pick up your right knee, and then reach your right leg high. Big breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee and reach your right hip up toward the sky. You could circle out your ankle or bend and straighten your right knee a couple times or just hang out, strongly pressing your hands into your blocks. And then go ahead and set your right foot down. Shifting forward to your high plank. Once again, just 1 breath in. And exhale, lower your right knee. Breathe like normal as you step your left foot off to the left side of your mat. Coming up to onto your blocks again if you want to. Let's rock forward and back a couple of times. This time feeling the inner left leg, inner left thigh. The right side felt much like deeper or something today for me. Okay. And eventually coming back up to that kind of neutral position. Curl your right toes under, pick up your right knee, and then step your left foot up. Three-legged down dog. One breath in. And exhale, bend your left knee, lift your left hip up toward the sky. Hope that makes sense. And maybe hanging out right here. Strong arms, reaching through the shoulders, pressing through your blocks. And then we'll set the left foot down. Curl or bend your knees and walk your hands to the back of your mat. We're going to end up in a kind of a squat at the back of your mat. I'm going to grab my blocks to sit on. So take your time figuring out what your squat will look like. If possible, we'll bring the feet down to the floor and then start to lower into our malasana. If this doesn't feel right today, you can always come up and kind of rest your elbows on your knees or your hands on your knees. Wherever you are right now, let's puff the chest up, drawing the shoulder blades just a little closer together behind your back. Finding just a tiny tuck of your chin, almost an imperceptible tuck of your chin, so the back of your neck feels a little longer. Feel free to stay right here, or we can add on a little bit of a twist. I'm grabbing my other block. I'm going to press my right hand down into my block, keeping my right elbow kind of on the inside of my right knee, and then opening the left arm up toward the left side. Eventually switching sides, bringing the left hand down, wedging your left elbow on the inside of your left knee, and opening the right arm up high. And then go ahead and come down. We'll come up off of our blocks down to the floor, straightening out your legs. You can give them a little shake out here for a minute. And then if you have, we'll end our class here. Actually, I'm gonna grab that in a second. Let's lay down. Go ahead and grab your knees, pull your knees in toward your chest. We'll find a little bit of movement here, circling your knees, massaging out the low back. Okay, if you have a chair handy, a chair or a couch, we'll end with our legs up on a chair so your knees are bent. If you happen to have a bolster or some kind of stack that you can make, like it's called Stonehenge, because you make your little Stonehenge thing here with your two blocks on the bottom and your big rock on top. Let's see if we can get the legs up on something. So maybe a chair, maybe your ottoman. Ottomans are like the best, I think. So knees will be bent. Your legs can be about 90 degrees or so, just whatever ends up panning out. The closer to 90 degrees that your legs are, the more of like a downward pressure you're going to feel in your low back, which might feel very good if that's the reason you're here today. Low back and core engagement and awareness. If there are any other little movements here or stretches that you're wanting or needing before our final rest, go ahead, move a little bit here. Eventually, if stillness is available today, let's enjoy some. Your arms could end up, just let them end up where they want to be, somewhere restful. Hopefully not too much stretch. We want more of a resting sensation, a supported resting vibe. Our meditation today is a simple but difficult at times breathing. We're just noticing the breath. Let's try to deepen and slow the breath down to, I want to say, the perfect pace. And that could change moment to moment. Let's see how slow we can breathe, how deep and slow we can breathe with as much ease. So we're balancing ease and effort, kind of encouraging the body to be in a state of expansion and softness and ease, while still kind of controlling the breath a little bit. But if it starts getting stressful or you notice you're starting to scrunch up your face, you can work with that. Or you can let go completely and just enjoy your rest. If you're at home and you need a little extra accountability or encouragement for this type of breathing, it's kind of fun to time lapse record yourself breathing like this, and you can really tell the pace. It's kind of a fun accountability tool. Checking in with the muscles around your eyes and around your face. Make sure you're relaxed. Feel free to stay here enjoying this expansive breath and rest as long as you want. Eventually, when you're ready to reawaken the physical body, let's just do so extra carefully today, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe running your tongue around the edges of your teeth or around your gums. Eventually moving in slightly bigger ways. Maybe yawning or heading into a long body stretch. Eventually rolling onto either side and finding the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. And then using the help of your arms and hands, press your way up to a comfortable seat. Let's join hands together at heart center, sitting up nice and tall. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we have peace in our actions, peace in our thoughts, and peace in our words. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center now. Let's take a little bow forward to seal in our class. Thank you.